This next talk is going to give you a specific case study of how can we say AI transformation without cringing anymore? How the AI transformation happens in a pretty prominent company, I would say. So to me, this is very good background, especially for what we're expected to do at work in a year time. Like, you know this old question, what do you expect to be doing in 5 years? I expect to be defending from a robot uprising or something. But in a few months, we're expected to be part of exactly what Apollo already did. And Przemek is here to talk about that. Are you ready? All right. Are you ready?
All right. Hello, everybody. Let me grab a bottle of water because it's going to be needed for sure. So, how was your lunch? Was it good? Yeah? Okay. I need to confess you something because after lunch, I usually take a nap. I really love it. But I hope in this case, you will stay with me to the end of my presentation because I have a lot of data to present you. The topic of my presentation is did AI really make us faster? But by saying us, I'm not thinking about us as an industry, but as ZB said, it's going to be a talk about organization that I work for. Okay, so my name is Przemek. You can find me in the web by searching via my web handle, Przemuch. I also run a personal blog or web page, which is definitely outdated and needs to be vibe coded from scratch for sure. And I'm a senior software engineer in Apollo.io. The domain here is very important because if you didn't read the second part of this domain, you might think that I'm working for Apollo GraphQL, which is not true. In Apollo.io, we are building a go-to-market product, but I'm not a salesperson here. I'm not going to sell you this product today. And I have more than 10 years of experience, and I realized that I started in 2012, so year after the whole Meet.js started. And I'm very grateful for this organization, and especially for ZB, because he pulled me off of my comfort zone many times. He suggested the tech talks that I done in Poznań, because I'm coming from Poznań. And yeah, please give a big shout out to the organizers of Meet.js. Okay, and during this journey, I saw a lot of hype, starting from the framework wars, which front-end framework is better, Backbone.js, or maybe Knockout, or maybe Ember. I don't know if you remember those names. Then it was a hype for microservices, micro frontends, crypto, blockchain. And in all of this situation, I tried to be a skeptic for the initial time. And it was the same with AI. This is my tweet from 2023. I don't know why it hasn't been updated, but this is from 23. And as you may see, I'm not a very popular Twitter person. But I wrote something like this: ChatGPT this, ChatGPT that. Please wake me up when all the dust has settled, right? And if I had stuck around with this idea, guess what? I would probably still be sleeping today, because it turned out that the dust did not settle. It turned into a sandstorm, and we are in the middle of this sandstorm today, if you like it or not. AI is everywhere, and there is no escape from it. That's the reality today. When we look at the progression of the AI tools, AI workflows, we started from autocompletion, right? Very nice, incremental changes. co-pilot mode when the AI is alongside of you as a developer. And now we are the agents era, where the AI is written by the AI internally, and we are here only for review, for example. And the question is no longer if you use AI, but how well do you use it? And there is some kind of promise in the air. Some people may say that with AI as a multiplier, you can be 10x faster. Is here a margin already? Yeah, no, but respect for all of they're doing in terms of przeprogramowani.pl. If you don't know this 10x dev course, I really encourage you to check this out. But moving forward, maybe with AI we can be 100x faster. Or maybe we don't need to add another zero. Maybe we should move the decimal here. At Apollo.io, when we don't know something or when we don't have the clarity, we measure. We measure the metrics. We are a data-driven company and metric-centered. So this is what we did. We measured. We have a really real experiment with real engineers, a real production system, and now I'm going to talk about it. And before we dive into 3 phases that we've got during this experiment, let's give you a little bit of context. Our organization, especially engineering organization, has more than 250 engineers, and we operate on 10 years old monolith application, which is running on the production since 10 years old. The stack that we use is built on top of Ruby on Rails, TypeScript, React, Redux, and all of the goodies from the NPM. So we needed to be very careful. All right, chapter 1, excitement. We need to get back to first quarter of 2025, a year ago. Back then, we rolled out AI tools for our engineers, for the entire engineering org. Just to name a few: Cursor, Windsurf as an alternative, CodeRabbit, Backbot. I don't want to list everything that we gave to our engineers, but we didn't force them. We made them available, right? And wait for adoption happen organically. And what happened? Our goal for the first quarter was to achieve 80% of weekly active users of these tools. And we beat this goal because we reached the 106% of this goal, which gave us 90% of monthly active users. And everything felt faster back then. Engineers love it. Pull requests were flying from here and there. I just didn't have time for, code review. And the energy in the team was incredible. But felt is the key point here. Until, reality kicked in. This is chapter 2 of our journey. When we started looking at the data more carefully, we noticed something. Engineers felt faster, but were they shipping more value to production? This was our question. Perceived velocity, which means how fast you are coding, went up significantly. But the system velocity, stayed flat. And by system velocity, I mean PRs, merged, queue, feature deployment, cycle time. And this gap is something that you should be nervous about. If we go one step further, we broke the data down by the discipline. And it turned out that the front-end engineers achieved 3 to 4 times faster in terms of creating pull requests, generating code, etc., than the back-end engineers. and real measurement gains. On the backend side, there was no correlation between the AI that we rolled out and the pull requests time to deliver. And we started thinking, okay, why? Why is this gap? Why do we have this gap between the front-end and back-end engineering? And the answer was, of course, the context, right? Because the context is the key here, at least today. I don't know what will be happening tomorrow in 1 month, but today, context engineering is a thing that you should think about and study carefully. So let's compare side by side the front-end and the back-end parts. Front-end engineers had a multiple comprehensive cursor rules. On the back-end, we had only one file, single file, describing the stack and functions that were used on the back-end. Front-end had the well-documented component libraries. We are using Storybook, we have a design system, everything worked smoothly. On the backend side, we had the sparse documentation. Standardized patterns versus less standardized, but more modularization on the backend. Domain-specific prompts that our front-end engineer used, and on the backend side, infrastructure complexity. So our backend engineers were not able to capture the complexity that we have on the backend side in terms of infrastructure. And last but not least, superpower users on the left side. I'm going to tell you what does it mean in our organization to be superpower user in terms of AI, and no superpower users on the backend side, at least in that moment of time. Another thing that we came up by reading the data, we noticed that speed without boundaries may create, or not may, but creates the depth and the technical depth. And how this depth look like? The AI started generating, tests that try to validate incorrect behavior. You can imagine multiple mocking functions to increase the code coverage, and the test, lost their meaning, right? Coverage metrics went up, but the quality of testing went down. And we were optimizing the wrong number for sure. This point is very, very interesting. Our engineers trusted the AI output more and too much, to be honest, and reviewed too little. And that's why technical debt accumulated way faster than we were able to solve it and to address it. During this whole experiment with rolling out the AI tools, we started to asking questions, sending a surveys. And this is one of the results. We ask 3 questions. First, does the cursor make you faster? Yes, of course, natürlich, jawohl, absolument, right? But does cursor improve the code quality? 50-50. I would say. And do you trust the test that AI writes for you? No, man. Get rid of it, right? 60% of our engineers that participated in the survey answered this kind of, and gave us this kind of answer. So speed without trust is a liability. And this is how we land in phase 3, that we called optimization. We needed to understand not just who was using the AI, but how well it's done. So we built a weighted metric, weighted effectiveness score, with this kind of formula. Agent requests are worth the most, right? That's the agentic, autonomous AI work, and that's why there is a multiplied by 2. Then applied suggestions coming from the AI. Not only, we didn't want to check if someone is talking to AI, but do they apply the suggestions, commit the code. And last but not least, with very small, I would say, multiplier is tabs, shown by bar cursor. Of course, we run it through the logarithmic function to reduce the noise, and this is what we got. The results about our engineering using the AI. Only 2% land in this super power users, 8% power users, which gives us total 10% of our organization that knows what they are doing with the AI and do it well. The rest, 90%, were just adoption, but not the depth here. All right, so we had the formula, but what's next? But generating this score required data that wasn't available right away from dashboards from vendors. If you go to the cursor admin panel, you can see the token that you burned, the request that you made, but there is no return of investment. And we needed to connect the dots here. That's why we get we take 3 types of data. First, for usage, gathering from raw cursor logs. Then impact coming from GitHub data. This is the cycle time, PR lead time, revert rates, and the last, trust, which based on our surveys that we run against the developers, and we also added a scale of 5 survey for every pull request based on GitHub pull request template. And this triangulation was critical in terms of answering this question: did engineers who felt faster actually ship faster, right? And spoiler alert, it wasn't always the same people. And this is probably the best slide from my presentation. I really like it because I love to share the knowledge. I like to inspire the people. I like to test things and discuss it on our internal Slack. And this initiative is around this kind of activities. So we started a Squad Champions, AI Champions initiative. We identified engineers already using the AI and empowered them as a squad champions. 1 champion per squad. And their job was simple: share what works, raise the floor for everyone, that's it. Voluntary champions with the manager support is something better than mandatory rollouts from the leaderships, because engineers trust other engineers more than policy documents, right? And this was the shift. We were no longer optimizing for more AI, but we started optimized for better AI and start asking, is our AI usage making the system faster? In the description of my talk, you may see that there will be no hype. And sorry about this slide, but do you know this Gartner hype cycle? If not, it's definitely perfectly mapped for our journey. We started from this kickoff and excitement about the adoption that we reached 85% of weekly active users. It felt amazing. Then we went down to truth of disillusionment with this whole thing about the unit testing and the quality gates that we didn't have back then. And now we are on the slope of enlightenment, reaching out the plateau of productivity. I know it may sound a little bit awkward, but this is what it is right now. Okay, and answering my initial question, did AI really make us faster? The final result is not 10x, not 100x, but 15%. 1.15. And we are proud of it. Why? Because it's not about one developer who has a good day, vibe coding the next feature, but this is about our organization that contains more than 250 engineers. You can think about it that we just, by rolling these AI tools, we just hired another 40 people to our org, which sounds pretty amazing. All right, and if you don't do this already, if you're not doing this already, these are the 5 tips that we learn from our mistakes that I would like to share with you right now. So the first, invest in the context infrastructure first. We missed that point, and I show it in this comparison between front-end and back-end engineers. Create rules, skills, examples, everything before you think about measurements. Second, build your custom analytics or use more advanced tools than dashboards that coming from the standard vendors like Cursor and other stuff. Third, start quality measurement earlier. We just start from adoption, and it was our mistake. And we realized it after 3 or 4 months that, hey, something is wrong here about the quality and AI slope. Fourth point, set realistic expectations with leadership. Don't tell them that, hey, we need the AI tools and we will be 10x faster. Set the realistic expectations, maybe 15%, maybe 20%. And last but not least, survey more frequently, because engineering sentiment shifts faster than developer lifecycle. And yeah, 1.15x. It's not the point here, measuring and our journey. It is. Thank you very much. You know when to find me.
That was nice. Let's pick this up and go have a chat. I have some good questions. Hopefully I can relay them correctly. All right. So, how do you feel? Are you relaxed now?
Yes, for sure.
All right.
I hope it was enjoyable talk.
Nice. So question number 1 that got a significant number of upvotes is about the knowledge sharing. What did the knowledge sharing look like? Do you have any advice on how to do knowledge sharing about this? How do you spread information? How do you share things like agent MDs and all of the various configuration formats and things?
Okay, because we are operating on the monolith application, we don't have a problem with sharing the skills or cursor rules between different repositories. So we started from sharing the knowledge through the Slack, but it didn't scale. And that's why we started to build something called AI Hub Center on Notion, where we're gathering the prompts, the video tutorials about the AI tools that we use in company. We discussing what type of skills can we add, or what went well and what didn't.
If someone wants to become like an AI champion for their organization, what do you think is a good step in that direction?
Just show that you care about, that you want to stay up to date with the technologies, with the trends. You need to be curious about the whole AI transformation, about this revolution.
And that's going to be enough to get people to pay attention and to follow you?
Yes, if you share this knowledge, carefully with good examples, I think this is the right key. Don't sell it as a hype, or don't oversell it within the organization, but be honest. Say, I use this prompt for this workflow. It went well or didn't went well. So,
yeah. Okay. We will distribute NDA paperwork to everyone for this question. Can you tell us how the final metric was calculated? The final metric of 1.15, how was it calculated?
As I mentioned, we have this formula for calculating the effectiveness, and which it was just the average number against all of our engineers in the organization, comparing with the from superpower users to passive users.
Okay, so if it's an average, was there any? Did you have outliers on both ends? One end?
Yes, of course. That's why we use this logarithmic scale to to smooth the output from the formula, to get rid of the noise from both sides.
Okay. So now in a remote first organization where you can't sit with someone and show them how it's done, what do you think would be the best way to introduce people and like get them to engage first?
Yeah, sure. Very good question. Remote first doesn't exclude the pair programming, the old-fashioned pair programming. There are some tools like Zoom and other, conference applications that you can just dial in, set up a quick meeting with a colleague and do a pair programming. Maybe this type of pair programming is not the same as it was before, because before developers were thinking about the code. Maybe this time they think more how use the AI to achieve the better results.
Yeah.
But pair programming is the answer here.
Sounds good to me. I like pair programming, even remotely. All right. We have to finish this little talk, but I saw there were some good questions. So we don't have a structured Q&A follow-up for this session anymore because we're running out of today. But you can find Przemek here or online with more follow-up questions. And please do. He won't disappoint. Thank you for your talk.
Thank you.